Mr Chairman, I'll give that member one reason, and that is that this is a transitional piece of legislation and it relies on the national government bringing a piece of legislation to this House soon, so they say. And we don't trust the national government to bring a sensible piece of legislation that will follow on from this. This is, as has been said before, flows from an idea that Labor, quite rightfully, identified some of the problems that victims saw themselves as being ill-treated because compensation, when paid out, and as a former minister, the Mangaroa situation referred to by the Honourable Tariana Turia, was a sad state of affairs. The process was a lengthy one and compensation was paid out to prisoners. And people at that time said, this is rather unfair. They get compensation and I, or my family member or whoever, as a victim of crime, has been unable to get any assistance. So, in principle, as the speakers before me have said, Labor supports this. But the devil is always in the detail. And the fact that we are stating, the bill states, and the government states that we will be bringing back into Parliament later this year another Victims' Claims Amendment Bill, well, we're wary of that. That's why we will support it, but we do have reservations. The question that the Minister and the Chair might be able to answer is that today we have a prisoner on the run. The Minister for Corrections, the Minister for Police, who knows, it's one and the same thing, I think. Maybe she can talk to herself and work out who's responsible for this prisoner escaping. He's on the run. So I guess we could assume that he's under state responsibility. If he commits a crime, then does this bill kick in? Does this bill then mean that anything that might occur to him or to another victim, that this bill provides a process for anyone who may be hurt in the recapture or the chasing or the pursuit of this particular prisoner? Unfortunately, Mr Chairman, we're seeing too much of this, and I'd suggest that we're going to see a whole lot more of it, that prisoners under the national government control, under the care and or protection or custody or security of the minister, who's double bunked up and down this country and is creating for herself a powder keg, in my view, then I think we'll see more problems for prisoners themselves. We'll see more victims, and many of them will be prisoners because they may have been assaulted by other prisoners. We know we have a huge gang influence in the prison system. So the question I have for the Minister and the Chair, how will this piece of legislation affect prisoners who might be dealt to, severely harmed in prison under the control of the government? Does this mean that they receive compensation? If so, where should it go? To their family? Perhaps he can take a call. There's plenty of time, Mr Chairman, for the Minister, who I'm sure has some idea of whether this bill will, in fact, address the issues of compensation that might be claimed by a prisoner who is severely beaten by another prisoner. And Mr Quinn knows that happens quite a lot. Yeah, out at Rimataka, close to his home. He knows that goes on from time to time. Is he not near the hut? No, I suppose he never is out there. No, I guess that's right. I guess, yeah, well, perhaps he lives in Rimataka prison. No, I can't say. Mr Chairman, I can't say that. Mr Chairman, there are some legitimate questions that the opposition has of this piece of legislation. And as the previous speaker said, why is Labor unsure about this? Well, we're unsure because I say it is being passed on the basis and on the assurance that the next piece of legislation coming through will indeed address and assist victims. Well, we've already heard from my colleagues that if you are a victim of sexual assault, then you are likely to continue to be a victim because there's going to be no assistance provided by the national government and their ACC system. So maybe, Mr Chairman, before you ring the bell, the Minister can take a call and explain and answer some of the questions I have for him.